All right, so coming up we have Hoagiepops, who's an SRT3 runner, doing an interview. Um, they've also shown like pretty good skill in Sly 1, so it'll be an interesting interview. Looking forward to seeing that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the interview segment of Spyrothon 8. And this time around, very exciting for myself personally, but we have Hoagiepops here on the stage running, I believe, SRT3, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Hoagie?
That's right. Only one I know. That's the one.
SRT3 80% is one of the most special run in my heart, but also in yours. And as a category, it's extremely unique, right? I mean, you compare it to the rest of SRT1, it's a 3-minute romp. You go from the start, you hit a portal somewhere in Peacekeepers, and you're already at Nasty Nork. And then SRT2, you've got wrong warps, level storage, all those fancy tricks and glitches. SRT3 doesn't quite have that craziness yet for its 80% category compared to OG, right? So what attracted you to this category in particular?
Well, growing up, I of course had the trilogy on the old PlayStation. It filled me with countless hours of fun gameplay, but I didn't have as much fun with the others as I did with 3, solely because it had a skateboarding section. I would just go around doing my own little Tony Hawk jams. And by the time it came to finding a new speed game, I was browsing around the old YouTube. Shout out to our good pal Zick. It's been a while, but he's well beloved. He had just put out at the time the wonderful, like the little outdated, admittedly, SRT3 80% guide, and it was enough to get my foot in the door.
No, I think that guide helped a lot of people, myself included. That's actually what got me into it as well.
Well, okay.
And along that vein, like SRT3, right, it's both about children at this point, realistically. But as you just mentioned, you're looking for your next speed game. So this wasn't your first speed game. So what, in your eyes, is your journey through speedrunning so far? And how did you, obviously, how did you get to the world of Spyro? Was it just Zik3's tutorial, or was there something else that really inspired you to join the world of Spyro?
Short answer, it is pretty much just Zik3's tutorial. Long answer, I've been watching speedrunning basically since my formative years. In high school, back when there was a split, I would watch people speedrun Wario World on Twitch, and then there was a very specific speedrunner named Riskant who is no longer doing anything. I think he just went to college and gave up like most of us. But I watched him play Super Mario 64 basically every day since I would get home from school and just watch that. I attempted my first ever speedrun was Super Mario 64, just on like an emulator on my super not so good laptop at the time. And I got to bomb clip and said, this is impossible. So I put that down for many years. I wouldn't start my official speedrun journey as an actual runner until around April of 2018. I then became the single fastest, coolest, and hottest guy to run Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus on the PS2. And I did that for about 2 years before getting burnt out and just falling out of love with that. And then I just kind of bounced around from game to game, not really like learning any. It was mostly just like, I'll give this a shot. And then I played through it casually, but with a timer on. And I did that for many a game until, kind of landing on SRT. It was strange. I saw that the tutorial had come out. I'd already known Zik from Sly. At the time, I was a little mad at him because the last time we spoke, we did a race and he PB'd, and then he never posted said run to get on the board. But he would eventually come back later. Yeah, a little selfish, I'd say. But you know what? He's grown. All right, he's had his own journey, as have I. And I was just going through Steam, and I think it was like a Humble Bundle situation where I was like, I don't ever remember buying this game, but I have SRT. That'll be neat. I'll check it out. Download it. The tutorial came out. It's just a perfect storm. So,
damn. Very, very nice. And look, it sounds like you've got a lot of passion for speedrunning over the years, even though, I mean, we're going to come back to that bomb clip in a little bit. I've got another question for you just based off that. But you've had an absolutely meteoric movement up the Spyro boards for SRT3, Annie. In my opinion, at the very least, watching you go from where you were when you first started your over an hour times, you had that goal of sub 55, I believe. And since then, you've actually pushed your time all the way to a 48. And you're actually getting very, very consistent 48s as well, already in the top 10 of SRT3. Annie, what do you think is the secret to your success? What do you attribute your success to within the SRT space in particular?
It's probably strong genetics, if I had to say. Built
course.
diff, as they say. But no, I think, like, honestly, as you brought up, my goal was originally the 55 time. I probably would have ended up just stopping there. My initial, intention of joining in was I was going to do some 80% runs because I'd watched the tutorial, and then I would move on to 117 because I was like, man, that's a long category. That'll be comfy to speed run. Which I watched that later, and I'm glad I didn't do that because that is not a comfy run.
My apologies to the 117 fans.
I'm sure. Look, the OG one that we've got going on, magnificent, wonderful, very different. I'm sure. I've been told. But if it weren't for the community, basically, and I think it's very strange that you would have assembled this question, considering the answer is probably just like you. Surf and Kat, of course, you guys would pop in the chat and be like, hey, that's very sweet that you're doing this, but have you considered just doing something better? And that's very, very kind. It's very brave. No? It's very brave to go in there and do that, because a lot of people, especially if it's like their first run, they're like, look, I'm trying. RNG is just not in my favor. Look, like I said, I've bounced around. At this point, I'm like, oh, yeah, if you could tell me how to do it, I'll just do it. Thank you. That'd be awesome. I would love to just keep it going. But yeah, you guys were always quick. You were there basically every stream to just like help out. And there's countless others. It's just you guys are the main ones. I think House was pretty early on. Like he gave me a raid one stream. And I had no idea who he was, but he just rated me, and I was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" He's like, "Hey, man, are you doing the world record route?" And I was like, "Probably not, absolutely not. I'd have to guess. I'm just doing my best." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he linked me just this Excel document of all the tricks, and he's like, "Just give these a try, and then you'll get world record." I'm like, "Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. Also, just not true, but thank you." So yeah, it's a comfy place. There's not a lot of us, but everyone's very kind, very welcoming. Everyone's always looking to help each other out.
That's a shining recommendation of the SRT community if I've ever heard one.
That's right.
Look, in that vein, I mean, you just talked about the trick sheet there, and like I said, coming back to the bomb clip in SM64, there's some, I would say there's some difficult tricks in 3 Annie. There's obviously, as you said, there's world record routes, there's regular routes, there's beginner routes. What would you say is the hardest trick in the run that you are currently performing? And like, give us an idea of what the people should be looking out for in the run to keep them on the edge of their seats.
That is a terrific question. I'm stalling for time to think of something witty and funny. However, I think the answer is not that. I think it's just rocket storage. I'd like to be super cool and be like, oh, yeah, it just happens for me, you know. I think Sam skips very tough trick. Don't get me wrong, but no, rocket storage is in its own thing. Is it as hard as bomb clip? It's hard to say, but like, it's. And you can correct me because you understand the trick a lot better than I do. I mostly just follow instructions, but it's nearly frame perfect, and it involves a lot of cooperation on not just the NPC, our good friend Bentley, who is the best of the followers, by the way. You have to have his help, but also your brain has to work at the same time. Very hard to do in speedrun. I like to turn the brain off. I just like to go fast.
Yeah, of course. Not a very easy trick, and I'm sure we'll get plenty of time to talk about that in the actual run, which is coming up very, very soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. And Hoagie, I have one last question for you. I think it's the most divisive question that I have. Who is your favorite egg, and why is it Stubby?
Once again, incredible question.
Investigative journalism through the roof.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're a real Sean Evans there. No, I think, you know, a couple months ago, if you would have asked me back when I was doing early Stubby, I might have said Stubby. I might have said it just to justify my laziness. As it stands now, Stubby's cool. I like going down there because there's like, I'm no mathematician, like 200 gyms in that room with him. That's incredible. I just like
That's about right.
walking out filthy rich. But I just have I'm going to give a shout out to Jake. He never gets mentioned. It's a great name. It's a good dragon. What you do to get him's not very cool or neat or flashy, but he deserves some love. But I think the answer is Tater. People sleep on Tater, but
There you go.
it's because he's a Speedway egg. I think if he kept the same name but was just anywhere else, people would be all for him. But everyone wants to get just remove the memory of Mushroom Speedway from their head as soon as they're in and out. Except for Surf, I guess, but he's strange.
Of course, yeah. We have some resident outliers, but yeah, Speedway's not our biggest fan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Hoagie, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us today about your run coming up very shortly in the event. I'm sure we'll be looking forward to seeing everything that has to do with rocket storage. Tater is in the run, yeah?
Tater is in the run just the one time. We probably won't see him more than that.
What a shame. We might be able to revisit. We might have time.
Yeah.
What's your estimate? 104?
Now, 104. So we will probably run into our good friend Rocket Storage a couple times, but maybe not Tater.
Just keep running it back. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Hoagie, and looking forward to seeing you run.